Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of BPMs. Well,
You mean our wonderful documentary on Brill porno magazines?
The only magazine where you can feel your way to feeling yourself.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling
Lord
it.
Almighty, it's been a bit.
The correctness behind that statement is unreal.
Anyway, this is episode 8.
Yeah,
I believe we're on episode 8.
It is.
Holy cow, man.
Wow,
we're starting to keep it going.
We made it this far, guys.
We're so cool. I feel like
Hey,
we're
you know
popular.
Oh, Tetsu.
Tetsu. However will you defeat him? We
At
can't.
the time of recording, we can safely say this is either the episode with the new intro, or this is the episode in which we announce. Stay tuned for our new intro.
This is true.
Oh, man.
So as we've been saying, as we continue doing this stuff, we're going to be moving forward. We're going to be upgrading. Obviously, we've been getting new lights. We've been getting flashier pizzazz. Jan was so cool as to pick himself up a new camera, a nice little happy Sony. What'd you get?
873. It's right there, dude. The box is right there.
Okay, but that's not what the kids want to hear. They want them deets,
tech
dude.
specs.
They want them techs. They want them tech specs.
So this is a Sony 873. And
873.
turns out you shouldn't have brought it. So,
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's an empty box. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't trip out. We didn't just drop X amount of dollars.
That's over there. We kicked it earlier.
yeah.
on
That's fine.
accident. On accident.
I mean,
Is it define accident?
Pendleton Hardcore Show.
Okay, that's a good way to define accident.
yeah, I'm out.
Anyway, so you got yourself a new A7 III Sony camera
Sure did.
for the purpose of.
Of taking slow motion footage of you guys whipping your hair around.
Ooh.
I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth.
We are on something.
You know what? This
special
episode is
today.
done. That is all you needed.
You know,
Bitches be tripping, bro.
bitches be tripping. Get that bitch some leaves. Bitches love leaves.
Yes, they do.
And I'll make sure to post the meme on that one so that way you guys can see that it's cuter than all shit. Anyway, so moving on. This is episode 8. I am Blaine Papa Bear. To my left is Jan the photographer.
Hi.
And to my right is Trevor the musician. The bear, the photographer, and the musician.
Hi.
As you can see, we've had a very interesting kind of a day. So we're just going to try to loosen it up a little bit.
It's been a
we do actually.
weekend.
It's been a good weekend, but it's been a hell last couple weeks working.
I don't want to even remember that. PTSD.
But with that being said, we did still want to get in here. We still wanted to chat with all you folks. And since we've wasted about 4.5 minutes just being idiots so far, let's actually get into our topic of the day.
We did better than usual.
I know. Last time it was 20 minutes.
No, because that's when we.
Episode 4 was 20 minutes of us just...
Okay, but that's not last episode.
No,
last
last time
episode
we
was
went
with
on,
Cameron Norris, and that was a badass
Oh,
episode.
yeah, that was a great episode. But
So-
the last episode where we got all weird like we just did was about 25 minutes worth.
fair.
Yeah, I won't argue it.
So, as a good follow-up to our last episode, if you haven't watched it, please go back, watch episode 7. We interviewed Cameron Norris of the Dreamer Agency, and he is one stellar, fantastic dude. Lots of great information on how he goes about helping bands, setting up their tours, getting them on the right tracks, stuff like that with his agency. Super cool cat. If you haven't checked him out, please go on Facebook. Get on there with the Dreamer Agency. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, all their stuff. They've got a killer roster of bands.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I kind of noticed that we didn't really get into is in depth was how do bands market themselves to get noticed? And this can go from either the beginning to the obvious final stages, but, you know.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot to that. Cameron obviously knows what he's doing. I'm assuming there's a lot of basics that kind of mash across everything. Everyone's got their secret sauce. That's kind of his job to maintain his own. I mean, I work at an advertising agency, so full disclosure there. It's what I do. But even then, I still see bands doing original stuff that I'm like, hey, that's dope. I wish I would have thought of that.
Right.
And it really, like, how you market your band, I think is such a thing that is so unique to each and every band. Whether that is how you act on social media, how you walk out on stage, how you act at concerts, how you approach promoters. There's so much to how you promote your own band. And I think there's a lot to dive into there.
Oh, I do too.
And then I think
100%.
today we're going to try and unpack just little bits and pieces of that.
At least try to give them some direction in which to start.
Exactly.
So for the first thing I would like to do, we did kind of talk a couple episodes back about starting bands, how to go about all that business. We didn't really get into the marketing aspect of it as much. I would like to start with the newbies, the new guy that steps up on for the first time. He's already formed his band. Okay, how do I go from here? I've maybe played one jam night down at the local pub or something like that, but we haven't really fully dived into being a musician yet. How do we get our name started? What steps do we need to take moving forward first? First and foremost, obviously the internet is a real thing. Get yourself on it. I don't care how. Usually your best bet to start off with is Facebook and, in my opinion, Instagram.
Instagram for sure.
I know that a lot of people use Twitter. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Snapchat, I don't use it personally, so you're my Snapchat guru.
Dude, honestly, I love Snapchat for the reason that you can just go on there and you can add someone from New York, and if they watch your story, that's someone from New York watching your story.
Yeah.
That's across the globe.
So that's pretty cool. Is there any other sites that you suggest out of the main four?
Honestly, that's kind of it. I think the next step, once you've kind of established yourself a little bit there, is, get yourself a website.
Yeah,
throw something together. But that's a little way down the road. I think the first thing you want to do is create some social media presence. Make sure all your bandmates like the freaking page. You invite your friends and family to go like it. You put some stuff up on there that's interesting. And as you grow, as you jam, record some of your jam sessions. Throw some quick photos of you guys jamming out on there. Have fun with it.
And I think that's one of the big things that a lot of these guys really slip on. And I think even bands that have been around for 10 years, I've watched slip on this a lot too, is the fact that when you get onto social media, you can't just be a silent voice. No. I actually went through that myself doing the Papa Bear and Associates, and I didn't know what to do. And I learned with time that it's like, it doesn't matter what I do as long as I'm doing something and the world can see it.
Something
Dumbass
I
podcasts.
honestly, when I first found out about Papa Bear and we'd first started talking and whatnot, something that I really enjoyed that you did would be like, hey, I've got a show coming up. I'm going to do a live stream promoting it. I'm going to tell you the bands that are on the bill. And I liked that. I was really informative and gave out good information because some of these bands I'd never heard of before. Yeah, I'll check them out obviously when I get to the show, but that preemptive live stream, yeah, definitely made me check out some good bands.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, if you get the opportunity, like Jan was saying, get some photos of you guys at practices. Get you guys some photos of just jamming together. If you've done like a jam night at a small spot, take some pictures of that. Get someone to, even if they're phone shots. When you're just starting out, it really doesn't matter. If you also can too, if you've got anybody in the band who's actually got some kind of ability to kind of like look at things and be like, yeah, I could record us like a small little video or something like that. And you'd be surprised. Like, it's not as complicated as you think. You just got to put the effort into it, and you got to be willing to take the video footage, cut it. And you can do a lot of this from your phone. Am I saying do your whole career this way? No. But when you're just starting out, there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting with your phone.
We used to do it all the time. We'd all get together, link up for practice, and we'd take a couple phone videos, either me or Carl, because we had the nicer phones at the time. And then we'd just post, like, or for instance, even when Austin joined the band, I just took a 30-second clip of him playing a chug, and that got hundreds of views. And it was like, all right, there we go.
End of the day, like, I'm a professional photographer, but the golden rule is that the best camera you have is the one you're holding when something cool happens. And if that's your phone, use your phone. Like, especially if you get bigger and better and you develop a budget for things, like, maybe hire a photographer to come take some promo shots of your band as you're jamming. Cool.
Or even your buddy who, like, because everybody has a friend who's in the photography game.
Stop fucking abusing your friends for free shit.
Well, no, I'm not saying for free, but you know somebody who's even entry level in the photography game, and if you hit them up, be like, hey man, I could shoot like $30-$40 your way, just come take you don't gotta edit them, you don't gotta throw them into Lightroom, you don't gotta do anything, we just need a photo.
I hate that message.
Well, yeah,
I hate it. Well, and here's why. You're asking me to sign my name to something that I can put my sign of quality on. Like, come on, man.
I'm not talking about like a photographer of your level. I'm talking about like, shot my friends.
My sister's taking photos at different birthday events and stuff.
Okay, fair.
This is what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Now,
so you
at
know
this point, you're
somebody-
not approaching a full-fledged photographer for this
Fair.
yet. Now, I get what you're saying, too, and
Yeah.
we'll get to that at some point, and there is a truth behind that as well. Not just for the photographer, but for the band as well. But the big thing is when you're starting out, get that stuff out there, get yourself known. The next thing I would suggest is everybody does it. You might as well join the posse. Go through your entire friends list.
Invite those
them,
mofos
get
to
it
like your
done.
band page.
There's a lot of people who are like, man, I hate being invited to so much stuff. You don't even know me. It's like, you know what? But you're not going to know
support them or
me
not?
until I at least try.
Yeah.
And the only other way to really do that is to get, years of experience on stages. Just suck it up. Just deal with it. Invite everybody that you know, whether it's your mom, your grandma, your friends. If they don't want to stay on it, they'll leave it or they'll silence it.
Something
whatever.
I miss back in the early Cold Hearts era, like when we first started, was tag ladders. I miss tag ladders, and I also I invited 200 people to like your band page. Now you'll go do the same for me. Like those type of things. I miss those.
See, I never was a fan of the like for like. The like for like is a kind of thing where I feel like that's where a lot of the industry went wrong and they started turning to Spotify play because everybody's like, oh, like for likes. Promoters and, record labels, they're looking for how many people are following your band. Yeah, until you all got stupid and kept saying, hey, I'm looking for bands. Who wants to do like for likes?
Yeah.
And I would literally see posts about it. And guess what happened within the next 6 months to a year? All the agencies that I talked to and stuff like that, all the labels I talked to, like, yeah, we don't do Facebook anymore. Sure, it's a number, but most of them are fake. It doesn't really matter. They're not actual people that are fans.
What matters-
There was also like a big thing of companies that you would go on to and pay like $50 and they give you 1,000 likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is against Facebook's terms of service. If you want to get your band page set down, that's how you do it. The other thing is it's not about how many likes you get. It never was. Yes, it was an easy metric, but as Facebook is making engagement metrics much more available to just about anybody, those metrics mean so much more. How many people are liking your posts is one thing. How many people are talking to you? How many people are engaging with you? If you're posting your brand new music video, how many people go and actually watch the damn thing?
Yeah.
How many people are like, oh, dude, my bros just made a music video. I'm going to go share it. That's something else. And that kind of comes back down to, do invite everyone on your friends list to like it. Do it once. You don't have to do it every freaking day. Some people know who I'm talking about. And, I've found bands that way. People who I knew, like acquaintances. I've met them a couple times, and they invited me to like a band page. I'm like, oh shit, these guys actually sound kind of good. Yeah, let's go listen to them. And you know what? Yeah, maybe you'll upset some people, and there will be some people like, oh, what is this nonsense? I don't want to listen to this. You're gonna have that on a stage too. You might as well get it out of the way on social media.
Yeah. And it's the big thing in there is that you're just trying to expand your market at the beginning. With time, with more shows, you'll get more fans, you'll get more stuff. But at the start, you need to just try to get eyes on what you're doing. Again, don't need to blow it up every day and harass people. You're kind of throwing it out there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, you move on.
And as you grow it, you can also start to refine it.
Yes.
And that's kind of where you find as a band, as a newer band, as you're finding your style, you're like, man, who are we reaching out to? Who is our music going to touch? Who's it going to affect? Who are we looking for? Well, who's our audience? And that's a really, really important conversation, I think, that you need to have with yourself as a band. It's like, who are we making music for?
Yeah.
Sure, anyone who wants to hear it, that's great. But if you want to advertise to everyone between the ages of 18 and 65 in your area, yeah, guys, it's not
You're
gonna...
not doing it.
No,
and that's a big thing that I wanted
too
Yeah,
broad.
exactly.
Right. And that's the thing that I kind of wanted to throw out there, especially on the Facebook aspect of it, is Facebook is going to plague you with the algorithms that they have. Not everyone is going to see your stuff on Facebook. This is where, I think things like Instagram and Twitter have a better shot at things because you can put, the hashtags and do all the stuff that draws, certain audience types into it. But it's one of those things where it's Facebook's going to want you to pay. You want more than 10 people to see your stuff, you're going to pay Facebook some money, or your homies are really going to have to step up and actually comment and do stuff. Just because somebody likes something doesn't mean that it's going to get seen more. Somebody commenting on it usually means that you'll get more towards that directive of more eyes seeing it than it will if people just like it. It's always more important to give a comment on any kind of social media than it is to give just a positive or a thumbs up or a heart
to get
or whatever.
Get a little bit more technical with this. If you have a business page, depending on the size of it, let's say you've got a couple thousand people on there. The first time you post something and you're not boosting it, it's going to be shown to like maybe 5 to 10% of your audience. And if they engage with it, it might be shown to 25% of your audience. If they engage with it, it might be shown to your whole audience. If you're following a band's page and you're realizing every time I'm seeing their shit, I just don't care, this ain't for me, unfollow them. Like, honestly, it helps the band for you to do that. And sure, yeah, they'll be like, oh man, we got fewer likes on our page. But no, if you don't see, if you see them in your feed and you don't engage with them, that's going to hurt that band more. Like, if you like the people, shoot, man, just drop them from your feed. Maybe check them back out again in 6 months, whatever.
I'm generally one of the rule that it's like, if I took the time to hit like on something, I'm going to throw a comment, even if it's just something as simple as awesome, can't wait, or that's dope, or whatever. Just something to kind of boost it that little bit more.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, likes, it's the least impactful of them all, but it's an impact.
Right.
If 10% of your audience, if that first little handful is all going to like your post, yeah, you know what? Like, maybe that's a sign for Facebook to show to that 25%. Etc. You can keep going on with that. It still grows. It snowballs. Right. That's the whole point of it. Now, the other thing is, if you're a band and you're worried about your post not being seen, ask for the engagement. Ask people like, hey, we're going to make a new music video and it's all about colors. So what's your favorite color? Ask something.
Find a way to get them to interact with that. Following with some kind of a question or what would you like to see in it, or blah, blah, blahs. Anything that gives the people a reason to type something, even if it's just stupid and simple like a color, like blue. Okay, cool. You still got that comment of blue, and it's still going to boost. The next
400 people comment blue, and it's going to boost it and get exactly like what Jan said.
Right.
And here's the other thing, too. Like, if you don't believe that it works, I'm asking you, how many times on your feed haven't you seen, nobody knows how to solve this math problem? It's 3 times 3. Like,
yeah.
There's 4,000 comments under this saying 9. What?
Yeah. I see that a lot. Like, a lot.
Right.
It's so dumb.
And the reason is because they know that it's going to trigger people like, it's 9. Who wouldn't get this?
Yep.
So, and then it just snowballs, and then it just becomes more and more prevalent in it. The other thing is that once you do have that established, and you have like your basic social media set up, the next thing you really need to focus on is what the difference is between communicating with people that want to hear what you're doing and not just spewing out the mouth a bunch of stuff. I believe we were discussing one out when we were talking earlier that it's like, big news coming.
Oh, yeah.
And
announcement dropping soon. The worst one of them. It's like, just make the announcement, bro. Like, I get it. You want to build up some hype for things, and that totally works.
But there's other ways to do that. But
no, that works like on a stage. Like, hey, man, after the next song, we got something awesome to tell you guys. Stick around. Something like that. That works.
Well, I don't think that works in a live setting very well. In all honesty.
But and it really depends. If you're a small band and you've got 30 followers on Facebook, like, nobody cares that you're gonna have an announcement about something that's gonna happen in the future eventually.
Right.
And if you are a band with 30 million followers, then yeah, you can probably build up some hype for it. Sure, that's not at all unreasonable. But at the moment that you have 30 million followers on Facebook, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. Right. No, it's one of those things. I see too many bands where they're sitting there talking and they'll be like, they'll make a post and it's like, hey, we've got some big things coming. Keep your eyes on the page for what's coming next. It's like, so just tell us what the big things is. It's like, hey, we're going, no, we've all done it. I don't care who you are, but we're trying to help you out with this mistake that you do not want to make. There is nothing that will kill your fan base faster and get them to unlike and follow you if you just keep spewing vomit from your mouth.
What you got to post has got to have some value to it.
Right. Instead of saying there's an announcement coming next week, just say, hey, here's our new update on the music video that we're making next week on this day. We're going to be releasing a behind the scenes. That makes more sense to go and want to watch.
When you're talking about music videos, like maybe here's a picture of our guitar player and a guy with a camera in front of him. Something's happening.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe, here's a picture of our lead singer in a vocal booth. oh my gosh, stuff's happening.
Right.
There's so many things you can do with it where you're adding something of value, something of interest, something that your audience is going to want to see and actually care about.
Right.
And if your announcement's going to be so big that your audience is going to care about, make the announcement.
Yeah. I 100%
Especially in them early phases.
Yeah, if you're still under like 1,000 likes on Facebook or whatever platform you're using, like you said, don't just go, here's an announcement. Mm-hmm. Add some pizzazz to it, some flair to it.
Well, and that's what I was going to say next, too, is there is no doubt whatsoever, statistically proven, 99.99 million % of the time, if you have something visual to go with your post, it will catch attention 10 times faster than it ever will just typing. People are fickle creatures. They do not want to waste their time unless you are someone that they personally know and they want to invest their energy into. If you are someone who is just trying to get the attention of other people, always have a visual. Yep. That's the thing I will give Snapchat. I can make a quick little 15, 10-second little doopity-dop, and it's millions of people will see it. You know?
Exactly.
And I think TikTok more so.
Yeah,
right.
TikTok's
there we go. TikTok. That's a good one for that.
Good one too. Which I need to get back in the TikTok game. But I like I said, Snapchat, and it's not based off of how many people viewed it. If you have 400 people on your friends on your Snapchat list, and they all click on your bubble or they're cycling through the stories, they're gonna see it, and it's not gonna get held back by an algorithm.
Right.
And that's the beautiful thing behind it.
But go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The other thing I was going to say is like, and it's not just about value and where you're like, oh, here's an important thing about, you know what? I know some bands who I follow who we don't follow, and 80% of what they post is fucking memes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they're funny as shit. Mm-hmm. And I'll follow them just to look at the memes.
Yep. But I mean, and that's a big important thing too. Is it's like you don't have to sit in silence. You see something funny that entertains you and your bandmates. Post it up. See what the rest of your fan base thinks of it, too.
But, I mean, make sure that you as a band agree that that's what your social media image is going to be like. You know, you don't want to be posting offensive memes and half your band goes like, whoa, I'm not okay with this.
Right.
Right.
That's if you're going to have an image, maintain it.
And that's one thing that I will say, too, is that your social media page is not meant for one person to be in complete and utter control of. That is your band being represented on there, which is going to draw me into the next topic of learn what should and what should not be said on social media very quickly.
Yeah.
If you want to be the over-the-top, vulgar, offensive type, like you want to be like the green jellies, the shock and awe, the craziness, do you, but commit. And your whole band had best be ready to commit to that too. If you want to be like Trapped,
I was going to bring it up too.
Spew out all of your political, whatever you want to call it.
My chest.
Right, it hurts. Then you
For
have
the
to.
record, not okay with neo-Nazism, not okay with pedophilia. We don't do traps in this household.
Right, but the thing is that one person was in charge of all of that for so long. The band finally nixed the dude.
The damage is done.
And the damage is done because they let it go for how long has he been running his mouth? A year and a half?
Since the pandemic
2 years?
started.
Yeah,
He's been doing it longer than that.
Just a little bit before the pandemic started, he started to really get hammy with it. But during the pandemic, that dude was like 0 to 1 million.
and then the pandemic was one thing. The George Floyd protests is when he went completely unhinged with his Proud Boys affiliation and everything.
Yeah.
It was wild.
But it's one of those things where it's just like, look, to each and every person their own. I'm not here to dictate to you what you do or you don't follow. None of my business. Be good to each other. That's all I really care about at the end of the fucking day. But he destroyed their image. They were getting taken off of tours. They were getting pulled off
headliners,
bills.
festivals.
Right. And they were being completely nixed from it. And then the guy would go on social media and bitch about it, that this is bullshit. They're trying to limit our ability of freedom to speech and all this stuff. It's like, no, you're spewing hate. And
you did it to yourself.
Right. You did it to yourself, regardless of whether regardless of whether he actually stands in the stance of where he believes politically. You don't need to bring that bullshit onto your social media
or into your band's presence.
Right.
Especially.
That is something that you as a band have to agree on as a whole. If you can't, do not enter it into the atmosphere. Once you do, it's done. I learned a long time ago that it's like my band got into some political views at one point. I didn't want anything to do with it. It was just like, leave me out of this. I have no part of it. What I should have said is, I'm not okay with this. Get it off now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it did not happen that way. And I had to suffer repercussions of that. But you know what? At least the people that were shooting me those repercussions were cool enough to talk to me and know that I'm not affiliated with some of the things that were being discussed. That's fine. But the damage is still there that someone's going to be thinking about it.
That's the damage you know of. How many venues have gone like, I've seen what's on their Facebook. We ain't booking these guys.
Right. And it does. It goes to promoters. It goes to other bands wanting to even be involved with you on a bill. It goes to so many different levels. Learn what's okay to talk about. Learn what's not. A funny meme is a funny meme. If it's a funny meme about, and please, this is just an example. This is not something that I'm talking about, but it's like hanging black people and it's a funny meme. I don't think I'd post the fucking one with that. You know, it's like, that's kind of fucked up and you're going to be pushing a border.
I'm going to stay very, very, very far away from that meme.
Right. Right. But it's a matter of a level of how far your satire and how far your comedy levels go.
Right.
I mean, growing up, pile of dead babies was a common joke. I would never tell them now.
No.
Just because of the fact that it's like, no, now I know about things like people who lose kids and, there's, miscarriages. I'm a dad. It's like, I may want to, whoop my boy's ass every once in a while, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to love him and I'm still going to treat him with respect.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's the thing, though, is that learn what's okay to do social media. Whatever you throw out there, it's to the wolves, and they are going to eat you alive, and it will be on the internet forever.
Just because you delete it doesn't mean that 40 people didn't screenshot it.
Right. And just be smart about it. That's all I'm saying. What you should be discussing, though, is you should be talking about, like, hey, I had a positive, kick-ass day. You want to talk about your personal life, that's fine. You can do that on your pan page. It's like, today was a great day. I got up. It was really productive. We got some killer shit done. And, I'm about to go to band practice. So I hope everybody else out there is having a fantastic day as well. And we'll be hitting you guys back soon with some new tunes.
Yeah.
That's a fine post.
And
I'm okay with that.
I like seeing those posts.
And if
personalism.
Right.
Yeah. And if you have some personalized stuff, absolutely fine. But also, keep in mind of what works for your band, what works for your audience.
Right.
If you're like, you've got Facebook, you got Instagram. If you're boosting posts on them, especially, you get so many insights to it. Maybe once a month, one of your band practices, just kind of like at the end of it, sit down and say, hey guys, so we posted all this shit. Here's what worked. Here's what got engagement. Here's what really didn't. Does this make sense for us? Are we targeting the right people? Are we sending the right message? Talk about it. It's part of your message as a band. It's just as to a point, I'd say it's just as important as the lyrics you put in songs. It's the message you put out there.
Yeah, I feel that.
No, and I think one of the things that kids get wrapped up into as well is that they feel like they have to boost everything. You don't need to boost everything. There's nothing wrong with boosting your posts on like Facebook. We're really focused on Facebook.
Well, it's the worst
It's the worst for screwing everybody on.
The algorithms behind it, and if you don't boost that post, you're going to lose that 2,000 people of engagement.
Right. No, it's one of those things that I want people to understand is that it's okay to boost. Don't think you need to boost everything. Pick and choose what's important.
Yeah.
And really, $5. That's all maybe 10.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have thousands and thousands of followers, $5 to $10 is fine. You'll be all right.
Keep in mind that when you're doing that, you want to do it with something, what in marketing you probably call an acquisition target. You want to look at, if you're releasing new music, boost that.
Yeah.
Something that's going to get people hooked, something that's going to convert a listener to a follower of your band, to a fan.
And if you're going to be releasing new music and boosting it, it best be a video.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what anyone says. Lyric video,
Visualizer,
even if it's
lyric video, short clip from your new music video coming out.
Right. Something, anything. And if you're going to do a short clip from a music video coming out, please try to make that video clip at least 25 to 30 seconds long. Reason is because you want to get through either a full verse or you want to get through a full chorus. And I feel that 25 to 30 seconds is about what I generally see them usually last, because you don't want to get to the point where it's like, oh, they're hooked, and then they don't get to even finish that last couple lines of it. You want to give that to them.
On that note, that 25 to 30 seconds, post it straight on Facebook. It's going to make it easier for your audience to engage with. full music video, please, for the love of God, put it on something like YouTube at the very least, or Vimeo, because the audio compression that Facebook uses is
horrendous. Horrendous. Yeah. The only time that the audio... Okay, now this is from years ago. I don't know if this has changed. You can tell me. But it used to be that if you uploaded the video direct to Facebook, the audio kill was not nearly as bad. Is it still that way? Do you know?
I would recommend against it. It's still just...
It's still just horrendous.
It compresses so badly.
Yeah, I knew it compressed, but when we used to do it back in the day, because Facebook and YouTube were going through a tiff a couple years back, and that's when...
it's Google and Facebook. They're still at it.
Right. But I mean, that was back when Jakob was still making like the promotional videos for like when we did like The Drip and Crazy Town and stuff like that. We found that when we did those and we uploaded them direct to Facebook, it was better. Yeah. But if we did a YouTube kind of style, they compress the hell out of it.
So if you use YouTube, put it in there as a link, and nowadays most phones will open that in the YouTube app or in a browser, in which case there's no loss in quality. What it used to do, it used to open it in the Facebook browser, which just for some reason compressed audio like nothing else.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a big deal for a long time.
And for that 25 to 30 second short clip, uploading directly to Facebook, throw it in there as an MP4, that's your best bet.
Yeah. Past that, I would say that if you're wanting to, let's kind of move away from Facebook for a minute. One of the
things I really wanted to talk to you guys about is promoting in person.
And that's what I wanted to start doing. Yeah. That's where I was heading towards. Get to know other bands in your area. I cannot stress how beneficial that is to be able to be like, hey, I'm the new kid on the block. And they're going to be like, yeah, you're the new kid on the block. What do you got? You know, but to just go to shows and be like, oh man, your guys' sound is really awesome. I really dig you guys. You know, talk to a band like you normally would. And then be like, hey, you know, say you really liked the guitarist. Go talk to him and be like, hey, man, you know, I'm in a band as well. We just started here in the local scene. It's not going to be a win every time. Nope. Sometimes they're just going to be like, oh, that's cool. And they're going to walk away from you.
One of those.
But if you do that enough, sooner or later, you're going to be like, well, shit, hey, you know, we've got this show that's coming up, and I think they're looking for one more band still. Maybe we could get you guys on there.
Well, and keep showing up.
And that's the thing,
People are going to remember the guys that are there every time.
Yep. And that's another thing, too. If you show them that you're dedicated and you're going to the shows frequently, that's another thing that really stands out, too. It also stands out to the promoter if they're actually in the building and they pay attention to who's there.
Yeah.
If you're a face that they recognize, that goes a long ways. But I would really suggest start talking to other bands. Get to know the other members. Get to just, even if you don't know all of them, like, hey, I'm a guitarist. Your guitar skills are really badass. Oh, dude, I've been trying to get my band up and going. We just started. And then you guys can chit-chat. Sooner or later, one of those is going to help you. And what's even better is when you can get a buddy band.
Yep.
And a buddy band is a band that like you are homies with, and you're always down to play shows together. You're always down to go out of town together, stuff like that. It's a
shout out Artificial Aliens.
Big time. That's awesome. Yeah. You know, for me, it's the guys in Rising Enemy.
Same.
Simple Minded.
They played 3 of our tour dates, Rising Enemy.
Desolate. I mean, those guys have been super cool with me and my band, Stress Fed. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you get that, and it's so much easier to go up and be like, hey, we're looking for a show this date. How many openings do you have? It's like, oh, we only got 2 openings that night. So, I mean, you know, we got to find one more band. It's like, hey, I've got a buddy band. I know they'd love to come jam with us, and just we'll ride together. Keeps the expenses simpler because then you can actually carry your gear together too if you've got the right rig or trailer or whatever.
Share cabs.
You know each other's setup. You can help each other out.
Yep. There is something to be said about that. And for starting bands especially, you're not going to have the biggest, greatest gear. If you can make friends with people who have stuff that you don't have, that can make your life easier, and you guys are cool with each other. I'm not saying use people to get this, but if you guys are homies, you guys can help each other out, and it goes so much further with that.
What I will definitely say, too, is if you show up to shows, local shows, you talk to a promoter ahead of the show. You go say hi. Hey, can I help you out? No, cool. I'm going to go drink a beer. Go socialize. I have met people who are part of our local scene here who ended up, you know, on stage. And I, as a photographer, was excited to see them play. And, you know, if I'm excited to see your band play, I'm not going to lie, I get better shots.
Right. The other thing is, too, is that you're a new kid on the block. Get some audio. Please, I don't care if it's phone recording. I've talked about this a couple episodes back.
Yes.
Get me anything. If it's not the top quality, that's okay. It just gives me an idea of what to listen to. You need to have that. And if you can get that to your audio, to your crowd as well online, that goes a long way. When you get on stage finally, it's going to take a bit before you get the recognition that you want. It's going to take a little bit to get noticed by people. Something that you can do, and this is easy, and I tell this to everybody, make fucking stickers. For the love of Pete, stickers are so cheap.
You can get like 50 of them for $10.
Depending on where you go through. The average for a decent, like just black square with your name on it, yeah, probably 50 for like $20.
Yeah.
You know, and if you guys can't pitch together $20 out of the typical band size of 3 to 5 people, then I don't know what you're doing. You know.
And one of the things that I found very, very interesting too is I recall a band in Portland, and I'm so sorry I can't remember your guys' name. Their merch booth, they had a stack of stickers, like a high stack of stickers, and an iPad. And I was like, hey, use the iPad, sign up for our newsletter. Here, have a sticker.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or even just a piece of paper with the name and the emails. Now, granted, the name and emails thing is a little bit harder because everybody's writing is sloppy or not, and you may only be able to read half of them.
I'm left-handed. I feel like that was
no, it's more like if you go to an all-ages show, it's less likely to be an issue. But if you go to like a 21 and over show, you're drinking.
Well, that and if you're,
you know,
I seem to remember it was a touring band, and what happens if you lose that one piece of paper? You invested in that piece of paper. Digital's probably the way to go.
Right. But I mean, preference. If you're a kid and you don't have the iPad, fuck it. If you have it, cool, do it. I don't give a shit. But make yourself something stickers. Stickers are so easy to work with because of the fact that it's like, how many kids still slap those things on their cars? How many kids still slap them on their binders? How many adults still slap them on their cars?
When I'm out skating, I take a handful of stickers with me on purpose.
Right. You know, slap them on your board. You know, it's
street signs, green boxes.
Oh, yeah.
You remember the
anything
green boxes?
And everything.
Yeah.
Anything and everything. The power boxes. Yeah.
My old editing laptop had them all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top of my Xbox, just a sticker bomb.
Yeah, I mean, my road cases for all of my gear, I've started throwing stickers all over them. It's just like, I just want to make sure that I've got a whole bunch of bands on this.
And the Cold Hearts merch boxes are all stickers of bands we played with.
Yep. Another thing that I think is really great, too, is always remember that your merch, if you're going to go out there with merch, the 2 top key things you need for merch is your CD, some kind of audio, if it's one of those digital cards, but whatever, I don't care, music, okay? And the second one should be something that puts a lasting item on a body or item. So I always say CDs and stickers are your best way to go.
Posters.
Okay, now posters are not in that category. The reason being is because the days of people building wall collages is really not as big and prevalent. That's
love it.
It's so great. It's an old school thing, but it's not as prevalent anymore. The banners, they're still dope as fuck, but anybody will tell you they don't sell the same way that they used to.
I don't know on that one because I see 10 times more kids and people in our age group buying the wall flags than I do see them buying the tank tops and the T-shirts.
What I was going to say is that what you want is something that is either a shirt, a hat, a sticker, or a patch.
Yeah, patch.
Something that is on the person at all times, which is free advertisement, or something that they can slap on their car or throw somewhere on their stuff that's still free advertisement. Any way that you can display your stuff is a way to build out and branch. Because if they have friends and it's like, oh, what band is that? That's the stuff you want. If you're looking at getting like, oh, I want to get weed grinders, or I want to get shot glasses or butt plugs, it's a real thing. If you want to get the wall banners and stuff, you're relying somebody to be at a specific place at a specific time with the possibility of that being revealed. And it's not more likely. You want something that stands out. Shirts, hats.
And honestly, like when it comes to that, I think instead of having weird items, invest in your design.
Well, weird items are cool now, but that's further down the road. You want to get into that stuff.
But when we're talking about doing grinders, doing stuff like that, having something instead that is just a very unique design, something where you're like your buddy's going to ask you what you're wearing, and
you mean they might ask you Who you repping?
Oh,
Snap. We're not there yet. Don't worry.
that's going to be a special one on this one.
Big announcements coming soon.
But at that same big announcements coming soon. Anyway, but on that same topic too, though, we did discuss this a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Is that if you're a stoner band and your audience that you're marketing toward is stoners,
100%
grinders
stoners.
are your
get
shit.
the grinders.
Put the fucking grinders on your merch table.
Right,
I
like-
buy one every time.
Also, slapping a logo on a lighter is cheap as shit.
Yeah, I like
It
that
really
one too.
is.
Because, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm a smoker. Fuck, I always got a lighter on me.
Yep. And some of my favorites are the lighters that have like the bottle opener on the back end of them and stuff like that.
Practical.
Something that's practical that's like, I always want to carry this on me now.
Shit, we were going through a box out in the garage earlier, and you pulled out a Papa Bear beard comb with a bottle opener on it. And I was like,
It's awesome. Guys with beards, we like to drink. There you go. And it's made of metal. It's dope.
I've been not stopped thinking about it, and
It's
now I
the
want
ultimate
one.
dad
Right.
rock item.
What's that?
It's the ultimate dad rock item. I can't believe that.
I really agree. It's
Sorry,
okay.
midlife
I'm okay
metal.
with that.
I fucking want
Midlife
one.
metal.
That's right.
please.
Midlife
Thank
metal.
you.
I forgot.
But it's one of those things. Think about your demographic that you're aiming for. Think about the target that you're going for. It's one of those things that you want to be able to. Sorry, he threw me off for a second.
Yeah, no,
it's one of
having
those
a
things that
target
you want to
demo
make
makes
sure that your merch is going in the right direction. But I still think the first two importance. Number one is always your music. Your music needs to
Yep.
be the very first thing you make. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, if you're newbie, don't stress getting the CD made first. If you are a veteran and starting a new band, get that CD done now. Like, do everything you can. Don't worry about your showmans. Don't worry about playing stages 50 million times. You know how to make a CD. Get in there. If you're veterans and you're just starting a new band, make the CD, then go do your shows. There's nothing more depressing than going to shows. People like your music and they can't get it. They have to walk away empty-handed. If you perform a show and you're a new kid, it's acceptable for a little while, but get those stickers ASAP.
And
When you're a veteran, you best have something on your plate, even if it's a new band. And I hate to say that, it's just, you know you're good enough. Get that in their hands. Get something in their hands.
and on that too, like as an investment, a first investment for a newer band. Yeah, you might not have a full CD, a full album out, but have something. Have something audible that is a reasonable quality. That has to be a priority.
A burned CD.
burned-
How many
well,
times
no,
as a kid did I give out burned? I still do it as
yeah,
an
same
adult.
here.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about on your Facebook page, on your YouTube, have something on there.
Oh, yeah.
On your Bandcamp. Are we still using Bandcamp?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's still a
using
thing.
it, even though they charge a ridiculous ass load amount of money for shipping.
But you know, if you have some form of audio on there, because here's the thing: if Trevor shows up tomorrow with a dope ass shirt, I'm like, who the fuck is that? He's like, oh, this is local band. It's like, cool. Can I listen to him?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, yeah, sorry.
So, adding my 2 cents on that, Cold Hearts, when we first started, obviously we didn't have a CD yet. We played 2 shows, and then we stopped playing shows. We put the best performances from each of those shows online as a song clip, not a full set. And then, when we went to the studio and we got our good recordings back, those videos disappeared.
Yeah,
Because we had good quality content to put up instead.
and that's fine. And it's fine to have some placeholder content at 1st. You know,
Because it's content. It's
and it's
something.
your social media. It is not like your full portfolio. It's your social media, and it's projecting an image. Same for your website. It's projecting an image. This is who we are, and this is what we do. This is the best of who we are and the best of what we do. That's what you're trying to show. And if you have shitty recordings and you have great recordings, use the great recordings.
Right.
It's simple.
Another thing too is since you brought up Bandcamp, there are a lot of websites out there that are going to be able to like, hey, put your design on the clothing, and then as it's purchased, it will be printed and distributed out. As a starter, yeah, you can do that, but I want to give you the caveat that you're going to essentially
make any
rape
money.
everybody's wallets,
Oh, yeah,
and you're
dude.
not going to make
a
squat.
singular penny off of
You make maybe if it's
it. $1 or $2.
what would normally be like a $15 shirt at a show ends up becoming like a $30, $35 shirt because they're making it one at a time.
Yep.
And that's not a good investment. Now, granted, if you don't care if you make money off of it and it's just to get some people some shirts, cool, do your thing. There will be no return on that. For that $35 purchase, you're looking at probably maybe
$2. I can personally attest to that too, because we've used, not to throw names out, but we've used the service, and we put up 5 items. One of them was really cheap. That one sold really well. But then the $30 T-shirt and the $50 sweatshirt didn't sell a single one.
Yeah,
because
and
it's just
too expensive. And then those sites, if it's not expensive, you got to watch the shipping, because then there's. I had a place charge me $20 for shipping. I was like, you know what? I just went through this whole process to find out at the very end before I purchase what my shipping cost is going to be, and I deleted the whole concept because I was like, I'm not paying that. Yeah. That's more than the shirt that I'm buying. Yep. And it's coming from my neighbor state. Yeah. There's no way you're telling me that that's going to cost me that much money. Yep. But those companies will use that. Just be smart with it. Pay attention to it. You're actually far better off to just go print a dozen from the local place in town.
What I did, because I got tired of that whole shtick, is I bought a $250 single screen print. Went down to my local screen printing shop, had them burn our logo into a screen, and I printed over 200 T-shirts of our own instead of wasting the hundreds of dollars to go through.
I think I still have one of those somewhere.
And not only that, I printed it on bandanas. I printed it on posters. There's so much you can do if you just pick up a simple screen printing setup. Just watch some videos on YouTube. And in the beginning, you can make your own merch for dirt cheap off that $50 screen and a 1-gallon bucket of black ink.
Yep.
The other thing, too, is to kind of keep in mind when it comes to cost, shipping can be very expensive. Another thing that if you are a band and you cross borders, import taxes can be a pain in the ass. Now, I'm not saying that you should avoid taxes, but if you have a way to keep a stash of merch on one side of the border and a stash of merch on the other side of the border, and you tour a lot, that could come in very handy.
Right. We're not asking you to do anything illegal, but there are ways to work with this stuff to make it easier. Yes. We live close to the Canadian border, so we deal with a lot of Canada's bands coming through, which thank God they're fucking awesome. And it's one of those things where it's like you got to learn that kind of stuff. But let's get back to the marketing a little bit, because I feel like we lost touch with that for a second. The big thing is that too, merchandise is marketing. Yes. Do not think of it as money. You are using that product to make money, yes, but you're using it more importantly to get your name out there, to spread it out there. One of the things to do that too is keep your costs down. If you are making a CD and say it's like, no, we got to wait until we make 10 to 15 songs before we drop an album. Why?
Oh my God.
Make yourself a $5 EP. Yeah. A $5 EP is so easy. And as long as you've got 3 songs on that EP, I can justify $5.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, easy. You know, there's no problem with that. And I would rather
Especially depending on your runtime. If they're all 4-minute songs, that's $5. That's $5 right there.
Yeah, that's fine. But my general rule of thumb is whatever iTunes is charging is about what you should consider in the EP. So like it's usually anywhere between $1.29 to $1.50. And if that's the case, that's 3 songs on an EP. If you want to do a 4-track EP, fine. If you want to do a 5-song EP, that's fine. I don't care. I'm just saying, keep your cost $5 or $10. If you go over that,
chances of
you're not going to sell. I mean, it sucks, but you're starting out.
Unless you've got like some insanely intricate jewel case with some pop out and it's got like full lyric book and shit like that.
I don't think I've seen a jewel case in so long.
Oh, well, I got a surprise for you.
Well, no, it's just bands really have stopped doing the jewel case. They've started going to the sleeves.
The sleeves, yeah.
Again, cost, expense. You're trying to save money. And granted, it's been proven time and time again. Nobody gives a shit about the jewel case. And what happens is they either throw it in the garbage and they put the CD in a visor. Oh, shit, we're coming to a point where CDs are going to be obsolete here soon. But
we had a big-ass conversation about that yesterday.
But regardless, even if it's the digital card, whatever, the fact of the matter is that your merch is to make yourself stand out. If you can sell it for cheaper and still make it pop, that means good art. Something that stands out. If you just have a black album with your name on it, that doesn't stand out very well. If you have some cool, crazy design that you and your bandmates sat down and just were like, let's just sketch some shit up, whatever. Do something unique to you that suits your guys' style. But the more hands you can get into, the more you're spreading. So the cheaper, the more likely people are going to buy it. And always consider the ideas of how to bundle things, because bundling is where you can start making your money.
The other thing, too, is like, keep in mind that your merch is also part of your image. Your merch, your social media, your music, everything. It comes back to that overall image. I'm going to take an example. We've referenced them on this show a few times. Steak Sauce Mustache.
Oh, dude.
They have an image.
Yep.
They're goofballs who are completely out there, but they make amazing music.
And they're technically talented as shit.
They're insanely
Yeah.
talented. And
Brett
you know
Root
what?
is a god.
Honestly, when you take those guys' image and you take their music, that's not a one-to-one matchup. Mm-mm. But you know what? They make it work.
And that's something that I really advise too, is that Steak Sauce, that's a good example, because those guys, in my opinion, are marketing gurus.
Oh, they're geniuses.
Green screen.
Now, granted, whether or not they have the most followings in the world, that doesn't matter. What they're doing is top notch.
And that's the thing too. Is like, it's not about the size of the following; it's the engagement.
Right.
Every single one, every single person I know who has seen Steak Sauce Mustache remembers Steak Sauce Mustache.
They never forget them. And like I've said on episodes before too, hands down, the best performance you will ever see in your life. Go check them out. But their online marketing is insane.
Absolutely.
Just recently, they put up a little fund me thing for a green screen for $65. $65.
Yeah, it was like $65,
I think it was
yeah.
that.
And so for $65, that's all they had to make. And they were like, we know that we're asking for millions and stuff like that. And they were just entirely goofy about the whole thing.
No, they were
I
entirely legit about it. It was so good.
They were legit, but they were goofballs about it. And that's what I loved. I literally saw it like 15, 20 minutes after it had posted. And I literally
We were at work and
I was like, fuck it, here's $100.
Yeah,
he's all looking at his phone and then just out of nowhere starts dying of laughter. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, go check out Steak Sauce's post. And I was like, no.
And,
and they come home
fantastic.
and we talked about it. I'm like, hey, should we back? And he's like, I already fucking did.
I already did. I already gave them $100. They already got their green screen, and then they had like a tier that was like, if you pay this much, we'll give you a green screen as well, because we can get two for cheaper than we can one, and because of bundle deals. And they were like, hey, do you want us to send you a green screen? Because that was what the thing was. I was like, no, just take that extra money and do something cool with your music video. I don't care.
Yes.
But that's just it. That humor, that honesty. They didn't put a thing up for a GoFundMe for like, we need $500 to make a music video and do all this crazy stuff, and we're just a simple band and we'd really love it if you'd help us out. They're like, no, we need $65. And we know that's asking for millions, folks, but we know that with your love and our passion, we can make this a reality. And I'm just dying.
The page itself was over the top. Like, you could have read that whole page for 25 minutes.
There was more than $65 worth of production on that page.
There was different tiers that you could buy
perfect.
into too. It was like the $15 package was what was it? I can't remember.
It's all good.
But the
Either way,
$20 one was a green T-shirt,
Right, but
Yeah.
and signed by the band. And then the $65 one was an additional green screen that got sent to you, signed by the band. And then I was sitting there thinking, like, dude, we should totally use their green screen to make a video and thank them for their green screen with the green screen.
It would have been dope. But honestly, I mean, I just was about supporting them and just being like, dude, you guys are awesome. Just do your thing.
it was.
Though,
It was
guys,
a
when
good
you guys
video.
get back in town here, we do want our green screen.
They want the green screen. I still say support you. Do you? I don't care.
We just want a picture with it, man. That's what we
If
want.
anything, I just want to fucking just high five them and
Yeah.
hug them. So I don't care.
I want to use it as a
But no,
fifi.
but what I'm saying is, when it comes to managing your persona, your image on there, and you know that can take a lot of different forms. Humor, especially with metal bands, like God, do we take ourselves so seriously as a scene sometimes? It doesn't need to.
No.
One of the most hilarious things I saw pretty recently was, as Trevor is very well aware of, one of his favorite bands, they redid one of their songs a little bit. It was a certain symbol that was changed out on a Chelsea Grin.
China.
Every time a China. Was hit.
It was recreant.
It was a beautiful version of Donald Trump saying the word China, which is just hilarious. I don't care what you think of the man. That video was funny as shit.
Yeah,
Right.
it actually really was, and I think it ended up with like 2 million plus views on it.
Because it's funny.
But the thing
and
is
it's
that
unique.
don't be afraid to throw those goofy videos out there. Don't be afraid to do all that stuff. And if you can think outside the box and think about just those fun ways to do that. Now, if you want to be serious, you can do it in a serious manner too. You don't have to be goofy and fun. But humor is something that grabs people no matter what. And you can be a hardcore band but still have some humor in your life.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could be this big, scary, hardcore, like gore grind slam band, and then you put out like Gumbo or Gumby on your T-shirt, and it sells 500 of them, and it's like got your logo, but then it's just Gumby.
You could be like Nathan Explosion.
Yeah, exactly. And coffee
from the hills of Colombia. Anal seepage.
I was waiting for it. Yes, spam that thing for a second.
Hang on, he wants this. Anal seepage. Anal seepage. Anal seepage. Anal seepage. Anal seepage. I still think it sounds better when I do it. Anal seepage.
It does.
Anal seepage.
So it's been
Anal
a long-running
seepage.
joke whenever, because we all live together, obviously, but ever since we added that outro, it's been a long-running joke that we'll like be just sitting having a water or eating breakfast or something, and one of us just goes, anal seepage, anal seepage, anal seepage. So that being a reality right there,
it's a little quieter than what we want. Anal seepage. But we'll get the volume up.
that's
on
why
that.
I turned it up a
Yeah,
little.
I know. I figured as much.
But I think that's like the perfect segue.
The perfect. No. Now it's a perfect segue. Anyway, moving forward.
Wait, are you
thing I
trying
do.
to say-
No. We're not there yet. One thing I do want to say though, because I know where they're trying to go, and I don't want them to take this away from me before I have a chance to say it.
You don't know where I'm. You don't know where I'm
everything.
going.
I know everything.
You need to get into the auction game.
Yeah.
You really do. Like,
I don't.
250, but the 250 one.
Say everybody, we're going to look at 250. We got a 250 over there. We got a number 5. No, I'm not doing that.
Leave it in the
Anyway,
comments below if
no.
he should be an auctioneer.
No. Papa Bear and Associates is not responsible for any of the opportunities that are given to this information.
Okay, disclaimer at least.
Disclaimer I'd get into.
Okay, leave it in the comments.
One thing,
Anyway,
Papa, right here.
God, you fucking
What was I saying?
Marketing yourself real quick before these guys pull me into different directions. I do want to say that we've kind of rambled on some of this, and some of the stuff we've talked about before. Okay, and I apologize if we have, but it's still good information for you to have. What I want you to understand more than anything else is that do not stop talking to your community, even if it's just like, "Hey, what do you guys think of this sick lick?" You know. Play a little and sweet, you know, it's like it's a 30-second long. It's like, what do you guys think of this riff? I was thinking about using it for something, and people might be like, you know, it's kind of lacking. Or then we're like, dude, that's fucking fire. You need to use that thing right now. Sure, maybe you already know you're going to use it for something. They don't know that. Just keep your fan base involved, and when you're talking to them, try to, like Jan was saying, make it things to where they can get involved.
And but make it. It can be funny, it can be lighthearted, but it's got to have some substance.
Right.
Stuff like, hey, so we're thinking about spaghetti meatballs for tonight. What you guys think? Like, nah, man.
Right.
Keep that on your personal page.
Right. But I mean, but if you're going to be like, hey, we're thinking about traveling down to Oregon next year for a tour.
What are some
do we
places
know
we should hit?
Right. What are some places that we should be checking out? Who are some people we should be looking at? Are there any other bands that we should be tagging up with on the tour?
Where do you guys want to see us next?
Or things like that. No, that's a real thing. Like, I see these bands post it, and then they're like, you know, it's just like, yeah, I'd love to see you guys come down to Kennewick, Washington. I'd book you in a heartbeat. And I have booked so many bands that I follow.
I have tagged you in
just
so
from
many
that.
posts like that.
Right. And it's just like, Kennewick, Washington, Papa Bear and Associates. I am Papa Bear. I'm Blaine. Whatever you want to call me, just hit me up. Let's talk some business, and let's get you guys down here, Dad. But it's one of those things where it's just like, reach out. And another thing, if you're wanting to market yourself into different areas, start small. Don't go thinking like, if you live here, you need to go 700 miles away. No, you need to go 200 miles away at tops, and then see what you can do from that point. A lot of people will tell you that the general rule of thumb is if it's within 2 hours, if it's within 2 hours, that's far enough. I mean, most people nowadays won't travel that far unless you're going to like a huge ampha arena or huge giant festival. Going for small shows, it's not that big of a deal. Go 2 hours away, you'll be fine. Anything closer than that, generally, you're just playing to the same market. Yep. I mean, in reality. Now, granted, there are exceptions to these rules. Like, we have a little smaller town next to this area of the Tri-Cities called Grandview, and those guys don't really travel to here, but they don't really travel to Yakima. They're kind of like a small little pocket of their own. They're like a little small town. Maybe capacity of like, God, I can't imagine more than 4,000 to 5,000 people. It's a little
I would
town.
struggle to put on a house show there.
We used to have bangers out there.
Really?
Real big bangers.
Yeah, he was telling me about that.
I had no idea.
Real big bangers. But the thing is that none of those guys wanted to travel, the 40 minutes this way or the 40 minutes that way. It's too much of a drive, and you want to drink and you want to hang out and you want to get plastered and do your thing. So sometimes there's small little pockets like that are an exception, but generally the usual venues, you want to be about 2 hours away from each other.
And I think that also comes down to like what we talked about, starting touring, starting going to places on our previous episode. It's really a matter of making sure everyone's on board, everyone's enabling each other to do things, having a designated driver, having someone in charge of making sure your merch is on point, having someone in charge of making sure that everything's loaded in and loaded out.
So, you're not forgetting pedals 4 states away, this shit, that shit.
Well, and another thing is, too, is that when you're doing that and you're going out, reach out to all the promoters. Reach out to all the venues. I don't even care if it's a place that says they generally do music. If it's a small bar, odds are they don't mind having live music every once in a while.
Yeah. And if it's a small promoter somewhere within 2 to 3 hours of you, they should know your name.
Right. And the thing, too, is that if you're posting that kind of stuff on Facebook, like, hey, guys, we're thinking about playing a show in this area. Hey, I'm thinking about going to the neighboring state. Posting who you should be contacting, what venues, that is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Start marketing, or not marketing, start getting your routing, your P's and Q's, who to talk to, get all that stuff written out, and then make yourself a layout and then kind of figure out how you want to direct yourself. Also, because that's as much of a part of it as well, is that you got to market yourself to those guys just as much as you got to market to your hometown.
One of the biggest things, too, is if you are a band and you know an area, you've been there a couple times, or fuck, you live there, you know the players in that area, and you see someone asking about your town, speak up.
Yeah.
Promote your town. Get more attention to your town. Get more bands coming through your town. First of all, you get to help fellow musicians, which you should just do if it's no cost to you especially. Just do it. And you help grow your scene. You help grow your local promoters. You help grow your local venues. And at the end of the day, you might make a few friends out of it too. And
oh, yeah. I've made so many friends and contacts doing that way.
That's how we met. Yeah.
That's
making friends like that is also a part of marketing. It's part of who you know.
Yeah. Contacts is a huge thing for that. Get yourself into the know with certain people. Now, you don't have to know everybody, but that's why I was kind of saying too, like, get to know your local bands in the area. Yep. They'll have some of those contacts. You'll be able to hit them up and be like, hey man, who would I hit up if I wanted to play a show in Spokane? Which is, a 2.5, 3 hour drive from us. But if they're like, oh, you want to talk to this guy and he's tied with this venue and with this company, so you'll want to talk to him. Here's his email. Feel free to reach out to him. You know?
The thing there, though, is like, yes, get to be friends with your local musicians or even touring musicians, whatever. But they don't have to be your best friend. They don't owe you shit. I don't have to go like, oh my gosh, Trevor, every time I hear your voice, it's just the most amazing thing. You're the best person. Where should I go on tour? Like,
that is the voice of an angel, sir. Angel.
I'm not arguing that at all.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But no, like, you just because you're friends with your local scene, like, keep it normal. Don't make it weird. Especially when you're trying to promote yourself, because that's what you need to be. You're a musician. You're trying to reach out as a musician to another musician. That's fine.
Yeah. But with that being said, man, I'm trying to think if there's anything really in the marketing yourself. If you can get on, once you get recordings done, obviously that's a big thing. Get yourself on Spotify, get yourself on Apple Play, get yourself on that stuff, because that's
pretty
become the new
everywhere.
Anywhere you can stream. I mean, it's a big deal these days.
There's
get
so many of them.
Everywhere you can manage.
Yeah.
If you don't have the manpower to manage social media, streaming, whatever platforms, don't get on them.
Well, in that case too, then let's talk about for a second that, things like, what is it, CD Baby? Mm-hmm. CD Baby's a distributor that'll put you out on all the streaming and sales platforms.
I don't recommend CD Baby anymore. What I recommend is DistroKid.
Okay, and like I said, I haven't used them in a while, so
CD
I get
Baby
that.
is great for if you want to bundle your CD printing, sticker printing, poster printing all at once. But as far as distribution goes anymore, they want a lot of money.
Okay. Well, look into that stuff. Yeah. Look into like your DistroKids and stuff like that.
But,
make sure you're
and when you have your local musicians that you're now starting to talk to, ask them too.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know, half that conversation, use your band page.
Forever, I wondered how everyone was getting all their music everywhere at once, and then it just took that one conversation of I can't remember exactly who I was talking to, but they're like, "Have you heard of DistroKid?" And I was like, "Well, no, actually, I haven't." And they're like, "DistroKid."
Yeah, and you know, if it turns out that, let's say you're asking your audience on your social media pages, like, "Hey guys, where do you want to hear our music? How would you want to buy our music?" And it turns out that your audience is like 50s hipsters driving cars from the 90s. So now it's time to put out some cassette tapes. You know, maybe that happens to be the case where finding what works for your audience is just as important as finding what works for you.
Records.
If you got a cassette tape, I'm 10 out of 10 buying it every time.
Records.
Cassette tapes in cars.
Track.
No, the reason I like to buy cassettes,
Dude,
is
I'd straight up buy that.
Yeah, I just love the nostalgia feel for it. I know I'm never gonna pop it in anything unless I randomly have a stereo around with a cassette player. But I just like the nostalgia of it.
I'll safely admit it. I have a CD player in my car, and that's the only CD player I have. But I'll still fucking buy CDs just to support local bands.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you throw a digital code in there yes, we all love you.
I'm always sad because I'm an Apple user and those digital codes never work for me until I get into a computer and then download it and then transfer it and all that jazz. But records, I absolutely am adore in records, man. I love those.
The vinyl pressings that they're able to do nowadays are so
That could be an episode in and of itself.
What, records? Mm-hmm. Have you ever actually watched records get made?
Oh, yeah.
They look like donuts.
It's
they get
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
So
really
if you've
fun
never
to
watched
watch.
it, look up on YouTube how records are made, especially if you can find like the color swirl ones and stuff like that. Oh, it's so cool to watch. It's like watching a donut just get fucking flattened into oblivion, and it's awesome. But with that being said, do you guys
It's time for
have
the red
no.
button.
Do you guys have anything else that
No,
you would add on this topic?
I can't think of anything. I think we've exhausted most of what I had for this.
Coming from a small DIY band myself, all my bands have been small DIYs. Make the fucking burnt demo CD and hand that shit out like a plague. They may not listen to it, they may throw it away, but you're creating that in-person contact. Hey, here's my band, check this out. They're putting a face to the name on the CD.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing for me. If you got a sticker to hand out with it, they're going to keep the fucking sticker. I mean, like I do every time. But creating a face and giving someone something to link to. If you just heard Cold Hearts, you wouldn't know who to go look for. Or if I'm at a show, you wouldn't know me. But create that personability behind it. I think that's something that's gone out of the window a lot.
You know, and let's bring that up for just a minute, because I don't care what time it is. I want to discuss that for a second. There is something that, and I'm glad you actually said that. Excuse me, because we focused mostly on the digital aspect of the world, the internet. There is, man, now I got hiccups. This
I mean, I think I'll let you deal with that for a minute.
No,
no,
you're not cutting me off. I'm doing this. Anyway,
anal seepage.
With that being said, there is something that I miss from my era of music, which is the actual drive to get out of your house and street team.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, like you said, there is nothing more personable in this world than you going up to somebody, handing them a CD with a sticker in it or with a card in it that has like some link to your Facebook. You can still actually put the digital aspect into it inside of it, but physical introduction to each other. When I see another dude who's wearing like a freaking metalhead shirt, you know, I don't know who to pick, a Slayer, whatever. That's a simple one. You know, it's like those commercials when you see the guy like at the beer section of the fucking gas station. It's like he looks over and he sees somebody wearing like a fucking Ozzy Osbourne sweater, and then he's wearing a Slayer sweater, and they're like, oh, bro, you know, it's just like, it's straight up. It's like there is a nostalgia that comes from that because it is a reality.
No, it's true.
And when you can go up and be like, badass shirt, bro, and they'll be like, right back at you, homie. You know?
To add to that, I like a lot of alternative and like indie pop music. Well, I went to see the Ready Set. Obviously, the only band on the bill that I knew was the Ready Set, but they had a few openers. They had like Out of Sight and Gold House, which you need to check out Gold House now that I think about it. But the Gold House is a one-man thing, and that's his name. But he has a band play with him. He has a guitarist, a drummer, and a keyboardist play with him. they're not even actually part of the band, but you want to know what they were doing hours before the show while we were all lined up outside? Hey, I'm playing drums in this band called Gold House. Here's my art placard and a digital download code to our music. Check it out before you come in and see us play. That was fucking sick, because I did. I literally went and checked it out before they played, and I was like, all right, I'm going to watch these guys.
Well, and I mean, you do it digitally when you're promoting your shows.
Right.
But it's the same thing.
But I also make posters and hang them too, and I also talk to people as well.
No,
The street teaming thing, I miss it.
The main thing, I think the main way you're getting out, like, hey, this is the sound of a band that's about to play. Now, don't get me wrong.
This is the sound of 1,000
band that's about to play.
Sorry,
This is my life.
Fucking bro job's the shit.
But
Welcome.
but for the record, like, that's also amazing marketing, and that's the music
really
itself.
is.
But no, if you're putting music out there as a promoter, massive. It's like, hey, here's a band that we're gonna be hosting soon. You guys should come check them out. Pay for them tickets. If you're a band, share it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
do it in-
but what I was trying to get at is that
Yeah.
the street teaming, there's nothing more personable than grabbing people and getting a face to it and having a real person talk to you. It's one thing we scroll through Facebook. We ignore
I scroll
like
through Facebook.
99.99% of it.
Yeah.
I scroll through Facebook on my own time when I want to. If you're gonna come up to me and bug me when I'm doing something else, I've had street team people. I'm like, guys, I get what you're doing, but can you just leave me alone for a second? I'm doing my own thing.
I can understand that to a degree. Me always being a person who is an extreme, like, I want to live at shows. I want to see shows. If a kid was coming up to me and said, hey, man, would you be interested in our CD? We're performing this weekend, or we're performing tonight. You bet your ass I would be like, give me that CD, kid. What's your name? What band are you in? I want to know your info. Where are you playing tonight?
Right. So the big thing there is, how are you approaching it? And
you have to find the right. There's a method for everybody, and
There's
I
a
can't tell you
tactic
what
for
it is.
sure.
No.
No, I don't know. I literally just tried to be polite as possible. It's like, excuse me, folks, are you interested in live music? Nope. Okay, thanks. And that was how I did.
So I think the one that I'm thinking of, and I won't name names, obviously, but was out with a couple friends having some drinks. This guy literally comes up to the table, pulls both of his elbows down, like, "Yo, you guys look like a bunch of metalheads. We got a show coming up tonight. You guys should all come out." I'm like, whoa, that's really aggressive. Can you fucking not?
Well, okay, but you know what? No one's perfect, and I would rather give respect to the guy that actually took the effort to try.
Yeah, it takes a lot of balls.
No, and it does. Don't get me wrong.
Courage.
But on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, I can respect the hustle. I'm almost like, but respect my bubble.
That's why I said the way I would approach it would be, hey, are you interested in live music?
No issue at all.
And if they're like, no, thank you, it's like, okay, cool. I'm not trying to be a salesman,
but
I
also know that I am
skate park.
Right,
right, and you should know where your demographic is too in your
exactly.
town. So
dive bars are a main place for them too. But a big thing there is that, you can stand outside of Hot Topic. That's fine.
No, you used to be able to stand outside of Hot Topic. That shit died about 20 years ago.
But the big thing for me is like, you should know your audience, but it's there's so much to how you do that.
And I agree. You don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be over the top. People who are out in a public area are out in a public area for a reason. They're not there to be bothered. Like you said, and I get that, but there's nothing like if I had never taken the opportunity to come and speak to you, you would have never done photography for me. We would never be sitting in the same boat that we're sitting in. Isn't that correct?
But you started talking to me while I was holding a camera at one of your shows.
You're right, because I assessed a person as I looked at them.
Yeah.
Now that's something.
But I'm at a show. It's different.
Now, hold on. We're diving too much into like how to give away shit and get people to come to shows. What I'm talking about though is it's like doing that, but going and hanging up flyers at places, going and talking to like the local establishments. Hey, can we hang up a poster in here? Hey, can we hang up this right here? Hey, do you mind if I leave this stack of stickers right here with some burned CDs, and you just, as you're serving your guests, say, hey, here, this is a free disc for the show that's coming up this Friday. Taking any part of physical effort goes so much further than Facebook, because yes, when I'm surfing Facebook, it's on my time. It's when I want to do it. But I won't lie to you. I start skimming through Facebook, and then even I start bypassing shit after a while, because I'm like, no, I just want
Fair,
something.
and
And
that's
then I'll
fair.
see a music video or a band say something. I'm like, oh, what do you got going on? Cool. I want to hear this for a minute. And then we'll be sitting on the couch. We've done it. And it's like, what do you
multiple
guys think of
times.
this? It's actually kind of dope. And it's like, who is that? Oh, it's this band. That's fucking cool. You know, and then that gets us down a rabbit hole of, hey, let's check out their music videos on the TV, on
Another
YouTube.
thing that I like to see is the effects of like effective street teaming. Like when you have a show out of town, for instance, when we went down to Redmond or Bend, I can't remember exactly, and we played at
same place.
Willie's in Winston. We rolled into town. We're not even 15 miles away from the venue. I stop at a gas station, and the lady's like, are you in a band playing tonight? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, are you guys playing at Willie's? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I'll see you there later tonight. I'm really excited to check you guys out. I'm like, wow, they actually promoted the fuck out of this thing. They had a good street team going.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that stands out more to me than the people who are willing to put physical effort into things. And, you know, since we're talking about marketing yourself, that is something that, you know, promoters, record labels, all those guys are going to want to take note of. And I mean, even Cameron said that on the last episode.
yeah.
He was like, yeah, your music might sound top notch, but you're lazy as fuck. So I don't
Yes.
want anything to do with you.
and
You know?
don't get me wrong, it shouldn't be just like a post and that's it.
Right.
It should
and that's
never
where,
be just that.
And that's what a lot of bands have led
Yeah.
to. You really do need to get up, go put some posters up, talk to some
Putting
areas,
some
do
posters up
something.
is definitely a massive thing. And you know what? With the right demographic, hell, there's bands I know who've gone into local bars and be like, hey, would you guys like? We're playing at this bar a week from now.
Can we put some promotional up?
Can we put some promotion up? Can you play the song at some point? Let people know this is what they're going to hear.
Odds are they probably wouldn't play the song because they usually use a jukebox or something
and
radio
I've
based.
definitely I've heard the no to that one as well. But you know what? That's a great fucking question to ask. And if it's a small enough venue, there's a chance they'll say yes.
It's a possibility.
Might as well ask.
Might as well.
And you're showing your face. You're like, hey, I'm here like a week before my show here.
Have
and
a
I'm
beer
showing
while you
my
do it, or
face.
a
Yes.
meal or something. Please don't
Absolutely.
ever ask an establishment to do something for you
No.
if you're not going to.
Oh,
be
you're
patron.
asking that after your
Yeah.
second drink, but
Right.
Yeah.
Or shit, for instance, when we showed up and we were just there to watch your show, we didn't bring a single lick of gear. And everyone was like, oh, are you guys playing tonight? Question after question after question after question. Finally, I walk up to Blaine and I'm like, hey, man, can we play tonight?
I'll let you guys borrow Rising Enemies set gear. You guys can get, what was it, 3 songs, I think we said?
I think we played 4.
Whatever, I
But
don't
yeah,
care.
we played
Everybody
short
had
songs.
fun.
It was a
Yeah.
fucking killer night.
no, and that's the kind of stuff that's just like,
You know, that's a good thing, too. If you can
Yeah.
show up and it's a buddy band and you guys aren't afraid of sharing gear, you guys shared Rising Enemies gear.
And we
That
played
was
a
not intended. That was
Completely
not
different
expected.
tuning. Taylor never touched Patrick's drum set before. Nothing. And we just did it, and it was fun.
And it was a blast, and you got free promoting of yourself
Yeah.
at that show that you weren't even a bill on.
Exactly. Our name was nowhere near associated or tied to that at all.
and I'm weirdly like thinking of things, and suddenly there's something that's clicking in my head, something I wanted to talk about, and it's partnering with people outside of music,
Yeah.
partnering with artists. I think a great example is we have a band pretty close to us in Portland, Dead Animal Assembly Plant.
Yep.
They make amazing collaborative efforts with Mothmeister, a photographer. The combination of
Don't
those
they also
two,
use Crab Scrambly?
not that I'm aware of.
Am I mixing that
Yeah,
up?
I think you are.
No,
but
I think
I
that's
don't know
Dead
that,
Animal
but
Assembly Plant.
I don't
But
know the answer.
either
to that
way,
one.
like,
He's
what
the
I'm-
guy who does Johnny the Homicidal Maniac art, or not Johnny the Homicidal. Was it?
No,
No, that's
I don't-
Yonan Vasquez. I'm thinking of Everything Can Be Beaten.
Okay, I'm thinking of the last 2 albums of Dead Animal Assembly Plant,
Crab
which is
Scrambly's a pimp.
Mothmeister.
I'll take your word
And
for it.
they worked on his art book with him. There's the guys from Dead Animal Assembly Plant. They also do live streams. They do tabletop role playing games on Twitch. I think Zach's actually Twitch partner right now, their lead singer. But it's honestly like it's a lot of do content outside of just your music. Keep it in the theme of what you're doing. Dead Animal Assembly Plant, if the name didn't give it away, it's got a horror vibe going on. Mothmeister, beautiful horror vibe as well. It works together well. When I was at a haunted house in Portland, they knew who Dead Animal Assembly Plant was. They all did.
Right.
It makes sense. If it's your scene, if it's your style, if it's your vibe, do it. Partner up with it.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with partnering up in different fields of stuff as well. And the odds are is that, you know, there are other musicians out there that are other art forms
Yeah.
and things of that nature, and they can help you out with stuff that you wouldn't even imagine. It's a great way to go about it.
And there's people who massively appreciate music who don't make it.
Yeah.
And for them to be part
And they'd
of a
rather
music
do the art
project,
for it
yeah.
or help you with your photography shots or whatever. But always remember, too, if you're asking somebody to do something that's helping you, make sure that you respect them to pay them what they're worth.
Yeah, and if it's a collaborative effort where you're both putting in the work and like, you know what, I am happy to be part of this. You're happy to be part of my side of the project. You're getting something unique out of this. I'm getting something unique out of this. We can call it even and we're done. That's fine. But make sure that that's clear ahead of time, that that's the expectation. That's a conversation to have if you're going to partner with anyone. It's like, what are you putting in? What am I putting in? And what are we getting out of it?
Right.
But no, I think, having collaborative efforts outside of the music scene, outside of the box, it's really not a bad shout.
Yeah. All right.
No.
Anybody else got anything else they want to
No,
throw
it's
on?
time for the red button.
It's time for the red button.
The red
Yeah.
button.
Are we ready for the red button? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to... That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Who You Reppin'. And
We're starting with you today.
You want to start with me today?
Yeah, let's start with- yeah, let's
I'm wearing the Hemlock
Yeah.
hat. We've talked about them Vegas
Oh,
boys.
definitely.
I'm wearing the October Bird of Death sweater. We've talked about them boys.
For the record,
So-
we're mentioning Hemlock, they did just drop 2 new CDs. I don't
You know
think
what? We
mentioned
did
that
just
yet.
drop 2 new. They
Yeah.
just dropped 2 new CDs, and
had
while we're
Carmageddon
speaking about
and-
Carmageddon and oh my god, I'm going to lose it.
He's already
Let's
done lost
see.
it. It's okay.
Hemlock. The 2 new albums are Violence and Victory and then Carmageddon. If you haven't heard them, they are fantastic. They just dropped within the last week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
By the time
early
this goes
February,
up,
February
last
12th, I
month.
think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, fantastic albums. Hemlock is always one of my top favorites. Go check them out. Wiley Willis, the guy who was in October Bird of Death and is in 2 Minute Minor. He's also a merchandise maker. I did not know that. So that's how he makes all this badass merch that's super comfy for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
He actually makes the merch himself. So
that's badass.
That's dope. Like we were talking about before. If you haven't heard, I've said this many times, 2 Minute Minor, I think their other product is, I'm not going to guess.
Yeah.
And then October Bird of Death. They make some of the most comfortable, badass looking merch I've ever seen. The guy makes it himself. And it's like you were saying, buy a $250 single screen silk
If you got the
Screen.
means and the skills.
and just put the effort into it. And this guy's got now his own shop. He does his own stuff. He does high mass production.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I'm probably going to hit him up for Papa Bear
Yeah.
merch next because, I mean, I think I want to spread that love. That's what I try to do is use people in the industry trying to make money in
I
other
wanna
ways.
Snuggle up to more of those sweaters. That's just
Dude,
all I
these things
wanna
are
do.
so ridiculously
Yeah,
soft and comfortable.
They're soft. That's
So
for
ridiculous.
sure.
But anyway, to the band that I'm going to be repping today, this is Undercard. Pretty much the best way to explain them would be alternative rock, I think is the
they're
best
hard
way to
rock.
put them. Alternative rock. I'll go alternative because they've got some stuff that's kind of like grungy-ish, and then
Fair,
they've got some...
fair.
They've said that they're a little new metal. I don't quite feel that.
got an edge
but
to them. They got an edge to
but
them.
they've got an edge to them.
Yeah.
So I don't really quite know if I quite throw them in that or not.
You know what? It's a good sound.
It
If
is.
you like heavy shit, it's nice to listen to. Like,
If you
old
like
school heavy shit.
if you like stuff that's old school heavy shit, yes.
Yeah.
I would not put them in like the likes of like metal. They're not a metal band.
No.
They
How about
are an
this?
alternative rock band.
Undercard for fans of.
Seven Dust.
No, not quite there. Seven Dust can get hard when they. I think Seven Dust is completely underrated. Man, I would put Undercard probably in the same tickets as things like Disturbed, stuff like that. I mean, they're not too soft, but they're not over heavy. They're rock. I mean, they're not in the metal category in my head, and I don't think they're trying to be, and that's okay. I like their sound regardless. Good guys out of Spokane, Washington. They're about 3 hours away from us. Play here all the time when the time isn't pandemic time, and super good guys. Really cool. They really bust their butts. They really try to promote themselves hard. They really try to do a lot of stuff. But they would fall into camps of things like, Disturbed, Edema, things like that.
A lot of energy on the stage too. I saw them with the net. Wonderful guys.
Yep, they're good dudes. So check out Undercard. Really good band. And Jan.
Well, I'm repping a shirt that when it comes to merch, I'm wearing a Davey Suicide shirt. I would say, I don't know, goth tech industrial kind of sound.
Yeah, I can see that. They're kind of like a older Manson meets kind of like some of oh my god, I'm gonna mess up the name. White something.
Stripes?
No.
Chapel?
No.
White Zombie?
No. They do have that zombie-esque flair to them as well. It's very electronic.
Yeah. I would say like for me, like there's
Orgy, things like that.
Yeah.
They're kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they got that. I think Mortise is like, it's like a darker Mortise for me.
So like kind of like an electronic industrial almost.
Yeah, they're very industrial.
It does get a little grungy sounding at times. It really great sound. Love it. Reason I'm wearing it for this episode when it comes to marketing. I absolutely love this design. You gave this shirt to me.
I literally bought the shirt for you just because of the design. I was like, this is right up his alley. And I bought it for him. And guess what? Now he likes the band.
I was listening to him this morning.
Him.
Yep. It's a thing. And honestly, like it's a gorgeous shirt. And you know what? I can't freaking wait to see the guy live now.
Yeah. No, they put on one hell of a performance too.
Mm-hmm. Now I gotta ask, what is the colorful splatter on your shirt?
The colorful splatter on my shirt says "In Prism," turned on to me by my good friend Matt Cernick. I was not able to get the shirt, and he gave me his. So it was kind of like a gift thing. These guys are insane. If you want to listen to one of the, like, I keep saying it about every band that I rep, but this vocalist does some of the weirdest shit, and it's straight deathcore. Their description in their about is deathcore, blag. And he just does some of the weirdest, like, gnarly snarls. It sounds like a fucking muskrat sometimes. And then he's also got these incredible, like, squelch, like, almost whistle screamy highs. I was playing him in the mat room the other day. But yeah, like that. And he just does like snarls, like and shit like that. I love it. It's, I would say, technical deathcore. Check out the album Collie. I think it came out in 2017. Phenomenal band. Phenomenal.
Something I would like to mention too, since you're wearing a Davey Suicide shirt. So Davey Suicide actually went through a hell of a struggle. So they got signed to a label. And if I mess up some of these details, please forgive me. But I just remember this story very vividly, was that the singer going on there and him breaking down the whole process of how he got signed to this label. They made the CD. They couldn't get any response back from the label guy. The CD finally got produced out, but it was like way later than it was supposed to be. They got screwed on the contract so hard. They lost all the rights to their music, all the rights to their name. They lost everything. It took them years of battling to get all of that back. And I think it ended up happening is I think they had to let that album go. Please forgive me if I'm wrong on some of these details, but I just remember it being this huge thing. Back when I started being a promoter, that was when they were going through all that.
And even if it's not the case with them, it's a story you've all heard.
I was going to say,
right?
Everybody go comment F in the chat for the Browning and Metal Blade Records,
right?
Yeah,
but it's one of those things where it's like. Marketing doesn't mean you need to get signed with somebody. There are so many ways to do it DIY now. And there are good agencies like the Dreamer Agency, who we interviewed last episode. Look into your shit if you're going to get into that, because I always feel so bad. I'm so glad that they finally got out of it, and now they're back to doing their own thing, and they're kicking ass.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm super stoked for them. But since you were wearing it, I was just like, again, cautionary. Yeah. Please watch that stuff. Past that, though,
I think
that's an episode, boys. High fives. Woohoo! Bro jives. Oh. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am Papa Bear. I thank you so much for watching all of these episodes and dealing with our stupid antics. We never get enough of it, and apparently you enjoy it too, so we're going to keep doing it. With that being said, we love you all very much.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the weird-looking little notification bell that reminds me of a muskrat's butt. Yeah.
And muskrat's butt. And with that also being said,
my sanity is fucked, bros.
Make sure to keep an eye out for our new intro coming soon. Or
it's
possibly on this
or
episode. Or
you saw it 90 minutes ago. It's one of the two.
Yeah, it's one of the two.
And we're going to ask you to watch it again just because we're that kosherly cool. But that being said, we love you all very much. I am Papa Bear Blaine. This is Jan, the photographer.
Hey!
Trevor, the musician. Ooh, nasty. You're so nasty. Ladies and gentlemen, much love. Good night. Papa Bear and Associates does not take any responsibility for sexual complications while listening to this program. Side effects have been known to include sweating, extended and unexpected erections, perked nipples, butt clenching, inflammation of the testicles, and anal seepage. Furthermore, if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, you should make sure to send us your non-graphic pictures for our viewing pleasure. Thank you and much love.